Hi, I'm Adrienne Jimmerson. I'm a teacher and mother of two sons.
And my name is Bryce Jimmerson. I'm a father, a husband, and I also own my own business as a carpenter. I build homes for a living.
We have two sons. Our son Quan is in junior high school, and our son Malik is in elementary school.
Wait, I'm going to stop you right there. They're really cool kids, too.
Of course. We are a multiracial family, obviously. I am Korean American.
And I'm biracial. My father is black, and my mother is white. Although I was raised in Humboldt County, which is basically a white community, so I was kind of the token minority, so to speak, growing up as a kid, and I think my wife can relate.
Yes, I grew up in Chico in the 1980s. Okay, so what was your earliest experience of racism?
For a very young kid, I remember being teased, being called a nigger as a child in basically preschool. From my earliest memories, chasing kids and wanting to fight them because they were bullying me based on the color of my skin. I had cousins who were white and would step in and try to help me out. But it always happened. It was just something that was kind of became normal. Pick on the different kid, and again, growing up in a community that was predominantly white, as the token minority, I felt singled out, and it's just the way of life from the very beginning.
Yeah, I think mine was similar. I'm adopted. I was born in Seoul, Korea, and I was adopted to a white family. My dad is Italian and my mom is white, but I mostly grew up with my dad's Italian family, so I grew up with a really big, loving, wonderful, loud Italian family. And I think my earliest experience of racism is in school, right? When we were home, when we were younger, we were in our little bubbles and we didn't really experience that as much. Well, maybe with some of our family too. But definitely, I remember vividly in kindergarten for the first time being out at recess and just kids chasing me around and, going like this and calling me Chinese eyes and flat face and they had like these really awful little rhymes too. I remember, like it was terrible. Like it's not even me worth saying. These little rhymes about it as well. And so I remember that was my first experience of school, and I remember crying and going home and crying every day, and it not being a positive experience out on the playground, especially. And then I remember, looking at my report card and having an N for behavior, which is not like me. But I wonder if that N was due to my, difficulty with what was going on out on the playground and, the racist comments that were being told to me and yelled at me. I wonder if that N had anything to do with that, what I was going through. And then if I think about our children, our boys, I remember, I don't know if you remember this, but Quan coming home from preschool when he was at preschool and saying that kids were saying that his skin was dirty.
Oh, yeah, I do recall.
Yeah, so I think that was kind of his first experience of being, recognizing that he was different. And I remember him saying, kids are saying my skin's dirty, what's wrong with it? Or why can't my skin be white like all the other kids at preschool?
Yeah.
And I think that was kind of his first experience too, realizing that, that he was different.
Well, and honestly, that's probably when we had the first talk with him.
Yeah.
About, people just generally, I don't know how to say it. It's a tough topic, but having the first talk with our son that you're beautiful for who you are. You just because other people say you're not doesn't mean that you're not.
Right. I remember us telling them, your brown skin is beautiful, and that's what makes you special. And so that was that's what I remember with Quan. I think Malik had a similar experience. Him just saying like, I remember Malika saying, like, why can't I just have white skin like all my friends?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Like wanting to belong, like feeling
Yeah.
different
Yeah.
and whatnot. Because again, here we are in Chico as minorities in a predominantly white community where we
stand out.
Stand out. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and as kids, you know, you're gonna get told that you might not fit in. You know.
As a parent of color, how do you talk to your children about their racial identity and its societal implications? And that question kind of just made me think a lot about our oldest son, Quan, who's now 13. And with everything that has happened in the media and with protests and Black Lives Matter, we did have a tough conversation with him a while back just about, you know, being a brown boy in this society and the challenges and issues that might come up. And we did have a conversation with him, you know, just that he's getting older and that when he's out with his friends, you know, when he's not with us, that people might view him differently. And we tried to explain to him that, you know, he's Quan, he's this boy that we loved and has, you know, his chubby cheeks, and all of his friends and his friends' family know him for being this wonderful boy. But unfortunately, the reality is sometimes when we're out beyond those places, in society, that people might look at him differently or judge him or feel threatened by him just because of the color of his skin. And so that was a tough conversation that we wanted him to recognize and know, and to be aware of, for his safety and just for, you know, his knowledge of being a brown boy in this world.
Yeah, it's the talk, as they call it. Yeah. So we had the talk, you know, and I remember as a kid growing up how it was great being a young exotic child, as they called me, and everybody loved me, and I was different and beautiful. And then as I got older, people started to view me as a threat and different, as somebody who might be stealing something or wanting to fight or whatever, aggressive. And it changed. It changed. And Quan's at that age, he's 13, he's in junior high. And that's when I noticed that change myself as a black male in our society, especially in a white community where unfortunately, for some reason, brown skin is a threat. And we can see it in the news. We see it and you feel it as a brown man in our world, everywhere we go, outside of our own personal bubble. So yeah, we had the talk, and he's young. He's 13. He doesn't pick up on these social weird.
Well, and he's had a really positive experience.
Yeah,
like
we're in a good community with friends and families. So
school.
It's something that has never ever been on his radar. But the reality, even if these times weren't these times, I had the talk, given to me when I was a kid growing up. So like it just is something that's just passed down in our community that we have to do to protect ourselves and to be aware of police brutality. It's different. It's different to get pulled over as a male of color than it is as a male not of color. So you need to know that, and it's very important that he knows that.
And then I think that's just a conversation that we continue to have with our kids as they grow, as as they change, as the world, evolves and things occur. I think it's just an ongoing conversation that we have of a family of color.
Yeah, no, there's complete social injustice that's obvious for all of us, and we all know this. That's why you guys are asking these questions for us to answer. So since we all do realize that's the case, it's a lifestyle that we live every day. We dream about stuff, all this stuff. We live this stuff. We talk about this. This is a daily conversation that my wife and I have.
It is. We do talk a lot about race just because
It-
it's a daily influence in our
It's
lives.
completely, it's thrown in our face all the time. We're always remembered who we are, the color of our skin, even from those that love us, that don't quite get it. It just is what it is, you know?
Okay, so next question. Have you ever been racially affirmed by a teacher or other person who works at a school? If so, please describe what happened and why it was so impactful to you. So I don't know about you, but for me, when I read this question, I immediately thought of my third grade teacher, Mrs. Rushchalk, wherever she is. And I remember for all of the trouble and sadness and, good and bad times that I had in school, as far as race, I remember in third grade, her mom had been a missionary in Korea. And so I remember she invited my mom and myself to her home to meet her mother and for her mother to share her experiences in Korea. And I remember her mother giving me this little necklace, and I think I still have it. It's like this little Asian looking, well, it's from Korea, this little dog necklace, and she gave it to me, and I just remember wearing it with pride and feeling so special, and that, for all of the heartache that I had with issues with kids or whatever, that she recognized, me being Korean, and that was special, and she wanted to share her mother's experience with me, and invited us to her home. And so just that little personal touch and her reaching out to me like that meant a lot, and it made me feel special and affirmed, and I'll never forget it.
No, I have never been racially affirmed. If anything, I've been racially, what's the opposite of affirmed? Defermed? I don't know. Well, but yeah, no, I've never. That's never, ever happened to me.
Yeah. So your experience with teachers has been all negative?
No, they've been great, but racially, like if we're talking about racially,
So you've
no,
never had...
no, I've never had a teacher that's built me up based on my race at all. Never. I've had a coach, James Washington. I had a coach. He's an African American himself. We never actually really even had the talk. So no, I don't think that was. He's just really a good family, close friend. Always has been, but racially affirmed from a teacher ever? No, never happened.
Yeah.
I've been told by teachers that just to get used to who you are after being called nigger and fighting kids in school, and just I've had teachers literally tell me, realize who you are and you just need to get used to it. Those are their words exactly.
Wow.
Yeah, multiple times.
Wow.
So no, my answer is no. That's never happened.
Yeah.
Whatever the opposite of racially affirmed is, that's what's happened to me.
That's terrible. Yeah. And
honestly, I don't ever think I've ever had a teacher that was non-white.
Wow.
Come to think about it.
Yeah. I think it does. There is something racially affirming to having a teacher that looks like you. Like, I think there's something about that that's empowering to see a teacher that looks like you or has had a similar experience to you. But even
through college, I don't think I really literally had any coaches or teachers that were not white. I'm really digging deep. James Washington's the only black coach.
No, Humboldt.
Well, that was Humboldt County. I mean, that's where that was Humboldt County. That was James Washington was my track coach.
Yeah.
And but
yeah.
I mean, it's hush hush. We don't talk about this stuff in white culture because you're setting yourself up to just.
It's a difficult conversation.
This is a very difficult conversation.
Yeah,
I don't even feel comfortable having this conversation with friends over that are white in my own house. Period.
Yeah. So I guess that's the whole purpose of this project, is to share these conversations and have these conversations and have other people be able to listen and chime in as well. So, well, thanks for listening to our conversation, and I think that's it.